Kevin Trejo.
Yes,
Can you hear me? Kevin?
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me? Let me put my speaker on and turn my radio off. I was looking at the canned heat here, so I'll get that on. Okay, well, we got you this week. That's good. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I plugged in my speakers, so I got you loud and clear now. That's good.
Okay. Need a haircut.
No kidding, Sherlock. I know.
I'm getting mine Monday.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Geez, it does look a little curly in the back there, doesn't it? This was supposed to be over on the other screen, but I don't know how to get it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. There, that's better. Okay. I can hide the curls this week.
You and I?
I'm sorry?
Just you and I so far?
Yeah, so far. I figured I'd get in early to make sure I could get everybody on this time. They'll be here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened last time. We were playing with this, and all of a sudden I was gone for a half hour.
Well, it's, yeah, I don't know. They didn't give us very good instructions, along the way. So I made sure this time to check it out, write everything down, and we're good. I'm supposed to do something with, let's see. Custom live streaming, I think, after we get started. So I guess that allows Sean to not have to copy it to put it on his website or whatever.
Well, next meeting, we should be able to meet.
I don't know. Hi, Jack. They just came out with a whole new policy for the town. It's still meetings, less than 10 people if you have the separation, that sort of thing. I forgot to send it to you, Jack. I sent it to all our other folks, but your folks.
If we go in room 1, we have plenty of room.
Yeah, right. And we could probably do that. We can discuss that tonight.
Who's the wanted picture of? Oh, that's Jack.
That's Jack. Hey, Jack, you there?
Hi there, guys.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yes. You got to at least be smiling, Jack. I mean,
Somebody else said that. I said, I am smiling.
Oh, well, you're laughing on the inside. I know.
Your lips don't move.
That's just a mugshot.
I guess I should clean up my office here. All I can see is the trash.
Well, you look like you're doing something.
Yeah, well,
That's
I didn't say you were.
Oh, it's good to look like it. I mean, that's okay. Sometimes.
Hey, before everybody gets on, what's the story with the fencing problem over at West Side?
What do you mean the fencing problem?
Knocked over. Come to look at it, it's laying on the ground, and the main gate is about 18 inches high. Anybody can get underneath it.
I don't know. I'll have to check into it tomorrow.
Okay.
I know the fence guy was supposed to be changing that a little bit, so you had like a little cubby when you go in and come out, so cars aren't sticking out of the driveway going down the hill when they pull in to unlock the gate. But you're saying the fence at the front is too high?
Yeah, one side is about 18 inches above the ground. Anybody can roll into it.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to bring that up tomorrow. Kelly will be here tonight, so if you want to bring it up, she'll be okay. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, how are you?
Good. You know a good barber?
No, please, I know. Actually, that's why my hair's all up, but no, I always my husband. My husband cut my father, you have to understand, my dad is 88, and he doesn't let many people touch his hair. Ed cut a neighbor's hair. He's not a barber. and is a realtor and a really good cook, but he has clippers and knows how to do it. So if you really need one, Rick,
Well, and they say the only difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut is 2 weeks, so it doesn't really, really matter.
he actually cuts. We go to obviously a hairdresser, but who I can't get into for a while. But his appointment is until July 1st, so he cut his own. Like, it's pretty impressive, I have to say.
I told my son-in-law I was going to have a ponytail, and he got all upset. So.
Man bun, I can see it, Rick.
I thought about. I didn't tell him that. That's the next time around. I'll say, well, have a little, little thingy there.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, Mike Doyle, how are you? And Doug, how are you guys? Hey, Dave's here too. Hey, Dave. And Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Hello.
Yellow.
I logged in with the same one I did last week or a couple weeks ago, the one from Lisa, and it didn't work again. But then I logged in with the Town of Groton staff one, and that one works.
Okay, well, that's what you should be, because otherwise I gotta put you in as a panelist. Let's see where is that panelist button here?
Tammy texted she's here, but we don't see her yet. Does she need to be let in?
She shouldn't have to be let in. She probably also clicked on the one from Lisa. Tell her that she should not use the one from Lisa, to use the one from Groton.
Ah.
The one from Lisa does not work. You have to use the one that the Town of Groton staff sent at 8:20.
Bob should be here too. Last time we had a list on the right, Jack, that we could add people in if they were on the wrong side. I don't see that coming up.
If you click participants on the bottom, it should bring that list up.
Participants. Okay, we'll see. Let's see. I got attendees, 5. Let's see who that is. Christine Cabral. Who's that? Ed Kolaski. Okay, they're listening in. They're all Tammy Hamelin here. Tammy, can you hear us now? Tammy? You're muted. You're muted.
Hello.
Hello, you there?
She's in.
Yeah, I had to put her there. We have attendees from the public here. We've got 6 of them. And we still don't see Bob yet. Oh, Sam's here. I got to put him in. Sam's got oh, Sam, you okay now?
I've been having fits.
I'm on now. Good evening.
Okay, good.
I've been having fits with my internet connection. Somebody said, oh, go just Google how fast is my connection, and it'll do a test on it. And I did, and it says, I'm sorry, the website's not available.
So your connection is dead. That's it. Okay, Robert, where are we? I'll just have to keep an eye on it. That's all.
Is unstable. Starting to get a complex.
Hi, this is Mike Doyle. I know that Diane or Ed Kalinowski wants to talk.
Yeah.
And right now, the can't talk. Can you hear them? I guess we need to do a test.
No, we can let them in when it's time to talk.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Right now, the way this thing is set up is for panelists, which are the committee members, and then the public, when the time comes, we can let them in to talk.
Okay, so they can hear what you just said then, right?
I would hope so.
Okay.
I
Okay, good.
think they can.
Okay, good. They'll call. Hey, call me if you didn't hear what Rick said.
Rick, did you hear from Bob?
I talked to him earlier today, so I don't know where he is. He's not in the attendees list on the right side, so I don't know where he could be, unless he's having some other difficulty.
All right. Well, we have a quorum, so
Okay.
I can officially start the meeting.
Yep, and I'll keep an eye out for Bob.
Yeah, if he shows up,
I'll put him
at
in.
6:03, so
Okay.
we got most of the participants here. The only thing I don't have in front of me. Yeah. The only thing I don't have for me is
Agenda?
copy of the, hang on,
Agenda.
agenda.
Yep.
I just got to get to it.
Okay.
And then I got that.
We, since you have opened the meeting, it's usually to refer to the minutes. We have had some issues. Jack, there was a death with the folks in Jack's organization who usually does that and helps them out. They moved offices, so we don't have minutes, but we will have
Okay.
to catch
Well,
up.
that's fine.
Yeah, so,
Well,
So
actually,
we'll-
citizens petition would be the second after the roll call.
okay. Oh, here's
Right,
Bob.
well,
Hang
yeah.
on, there's Bob. Hang
No,
on.
here's Bob. Then he can take over.
Okay, Bob, can you hear us now? You're on mute.
That's better.
Okay.
Can you
Oh,
hear me
hi,
now?
Bob. Yeah.
Now let's see if I can get my video going.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I think we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right, we don't have minutes, is that correct?
that's
That's
correct. I just
That's correct.
said we're on. Yep.
Okay, excellent. Welcome, everyone. We've gotten a roll call. We have a quorum, so we will move on without, we have a lot of work to do.
We have citizens in the audience, I heard, who want to speak.
All right, we're taking citizens petitions. If individuals could, one at a time, identify themselves and give their
Yep.
question or,
I think they need to raise their hand. There should be a hand at the bottom of the screen. Yes, I got Ed Kolnoski, so I'll allow him to talk. We should be
Okay.
able to hear. It says you're muted, Ed.
Ed, you're muted.
I
Oh,
should be unmuted, and it's Diane Kolnaski.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
All right, can I begin then?
I would think so.
All right, thank you. I haven't attended any of your meetings, so I would just like to introduce myself to everyone. My name is Diane Kolnaski. I have been the varsity field hockey coach at Pitch High School for the last 12 years. I'd like to share with you very quickly an email that I sent out this week to Dr. Grenier, to Matt Brown, to Liz Porter on the Board of Ed, to, oh gosh, two more people, Mike Doyle, and to Sam Kilpatrick. Here's my email. Good afternoon. My husband and I are the Fitch High School varsity field hockey coaches, and we are very excited to see that the turf field is finally in and almost complete. It has been exciting to watch the progress that has been made. As field hockey coaches, we, along with our players, are looking forward to having the same playing pitch as almost every school in the ECC and across our state. Last week, my husband spoke with one of the workers who told him that lines for lacrosse, soccer, and field hockey were going in. That had been our understanding from the start. However, there appeared to be lines that were missing. The field seemed to be missing 25-yard lines, a stroke line, and several other minor markings required for the game. Today, when we drove by, it appeared they were no longer putting in lines. So I am sending this email in the hope that someone can either address or clarify this issue. We would be happy to meet with anyone at the field to go over the required markings. Thank you so much for your help, and we look forward to your response. To that email, I received 3 responses. Mike Doyle was one of the first to respond, and he was not aware about the field hockey line situation, and he was looking into it for me. Liz Porter, a board member, said she would also look into it. Sam Kilpatrick also responded saying that only soccer and and lacrosse lines were going in. However, tick marks were being added for field hockey should we have a game there. Mr. Romano texted me, and he told me in every conversation he's had with the top administration that he has stressed the need for all 3 sports to be part of that field design. If you know anything at all about field hockey, the sport needs to be played on turf. We currently play on the outfield of the Fitch High School baseball field. Part of that field is second to third base, which is dirt. On rainy occasions, my husband and I are out there with metal rakes doing the maintenance on the field. We're pouring dirt on the field. We're grading it, and then someone comes and paints it. It's unsafe, and it's not a regulation field, yet we are a varsity team. I had one more thing that I wanted to say. I don't know why we were not informed about this decision to not put field hockey lines on the field. We have been committed to this team, like I said, for 12 years, and we have hoped for the day we would have turf to be able to play our 8 home games on and share it for practices to give our girls every advantage at their own sport. I talked to the people that were still at the field today, who told me that lines can still be added, but the cost would have to be added into the field. It can be corrected. He showed me where the lines should go. My final comment is that I believe there should be equity in every sport that's a varsity sport in Groton. It is not fair that one girls group does not have that opportunity to play on a safe field. I don't know why that happened. I'm disappointed. I know it can be resolved, and I hope we resolve it. And I thank you for your time. My husband also would like to speak.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ed Kolaski. I'm the JV coach, okay? And basically, I'm just wanted to give an update of what the type of fields that we've had to deal with. And I know Mike, this isn't anything new to Mike or whatever, because his daughter played. Basically, we started on like the oral school field that was in the back there. Played on that, and after a while, that was rendered, it was dangerous because as we started to play more, rocks started popping up. So they were nice enough to try to send it to Paquonic Plains, but then at Paquonic Plains, they told us that they couldn't lower the grass enough. I don't know if you know, I think it's a quarter, it's like there's an inch thing where whatever, that you have to have it field hockey, and they couldn't do it there. And so a couple of times we actually had the refs come and tell us, and we had to move to our practice site at Fitch Middle. After a while, Fitch Middle was our home one, and then it wasn't the largest size. And we were told there that they weren't going to do anything to get the grass any better, that whoever was in charge of it wasn't going to do anything there. I think it was right after Fitch Middle closed, around that time period. Anyways, and then the last one has been the baseball field, which has the lights and everything. But the same kind of scenarios there is that they said they can't go another ½ inch down. They think it's going to ruin the grass, whatever. So literally, we've had the refs coming every time, and they've gone to the CIAC, which is why last year when we qualified, they said, no matter what happens, ECC or the states, we wouldn't be able to go to them. And I think it just was frustrating because my wife and I both, like you said, we've been going up. We're excited. We told the kids everything's coming up, kind of thing. And then to see soccer, which has not only Paquonic Plains would now have that field. You have lacrosse, which has where they have down the signs down there say Fitch Athletics, have 2 of the nicest fields down there, kind of thing. And then to look out, and there's not only it's adult, it's a man, women's lacrosse. It's like youth lacrosse and youth soccer could be up there before even field hockey was even thought of. So it's kind of just frustrating to be at that point where we're at that point where we even talked to Mark about starting a middle school program to try to look into something there, because it's one school, and that's how a lot of the schools in the area that do it have made, you know, more steps towards getting kids and stuff. But we've had 30 kids. It's been great. And it's just been frustrating, to be honest with you. So anyways, thank you for listening. Okay, I know you have some other people that got to talk, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we want to move on, Bob, and address at the end.
I think we'd go ahead and address it right now so that we
Okay.
can move on. Sam, do you want to take this one or do you want me to do it? You're muted, Sam.
Well, and I could take some from a design standpoint too.
So the first thing that I'm going to say is that the PSBC had absolutely nothing to do with determining what lines went on that field. That was something that went through the superintendent's office. We just built the field. So if you have issues with the lines that are on it, I suggest that you take it up with the superintendent. The lines that are there now were the ones that were set in. From my understanding, they can use a water-based paint to put any other lines on and then take those off immediately after a game. So the use of the field and how the fields are used is not something that the PSBC has any control over whatsoever.
Okay. Oh, can they hear us or no?
Yeah, and I can address a little bit on the design. The school and the reimbursement, the whole project was designed as a middle school. We were fortunate enough to for the state to allow us to build the larger field. We were also fortunate enough to have dollars that we could put the turf down. The turf, you just told us yourself, has to be shorter. The turf that's been installed is not.
No.
We're told.
No,
it's
not the. Okay,
hang
not
on.
the regular turf. Yeah.
Hang on. We're told it's not
Oh, yeah.
suitable for field hockey because it's longer, and they typically use a shorter turf rug, if you will, for the field hockey. So those were the basics. There was 3 sports that were initially involved. As Bob LaFrance said, you know, we had worked with the Board of Education, and they were fully aware of what was going on at the site. There may have been a communications issue internally, but I can't speak to that necessarily. I should let you know also that there's a new multi-purpose field going in next to that. It's not turf right now, it is grass. It's going to be sodded, and it is exactly 100 yards long by 60 feet or 60 yards wide, which from what I understand is the size of the field required for field hockey. So at some point, potentially that could be converted maybe to a turf field also.
Can you still hear me or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to add one thing. We have played on many different types of turf fields, and the type of turf field that has been put in at Fitch High School is similar to ones that we have played on before.
Okay.
It is not the same as playing in the thick grass and in the high grass. So that field is definitely one that can be used for field hockey. The problem with playing on a multi-surface field where people are playing soccer, it's going to be a sodded field. We have had gouges in the field where it becomes dangerous. The ball takes dangerous hops. A turf field doesn't do that. A turf field stays nice and level. It allows the balls to be played smoothly on a smooth surface. And as I said, if it's lined for lacrosse, men's and women's lacrosse, which are played at the high school, and men's and women's soccer, which are played at the high school, it is not giving the same opportunity to a girls' sport at the high school to play their home games on a field like that. It is saying that some sports are better than others. And that's the message that I see for my girls. It's not a fair situation.
I understand
Bob,
that.
can I add some technical background? Bob, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
You know, as Mrs. Kolnaski mentioned, you know, in talking with the crew out on the field, there were tick marks for several sports, girls field hockey being one of them, so that the measurements are there and set and that spray painted lines can be added. One of the concerns with multi-sport fields of this type is that if all the sports that potentially will live there have their lines put in permanently, we've heard from some athletic directors that it becomes, confusing, or it's, so many colors and so many stripes, it becomes, if they're cut in and sewn in lines, you're cutting the carpet to bits, but also that just having that multiplicity of lines in any one season permanent in the rug can make it confusing. The idea of the tick marks is that girls lacrosse is already laid out and that the lines can be painted, and then when the girls lacrosse season is over and those lines fade, then the next season's lines could perhaps be sprayed, or they might be some of the permanently sewn in stripes. So the thought was not to abandon somebody and leave them as second-class citizens, but to try to make the field less confusing and yet still allow for ease of marking by sewing in the tick marks so that those sports would be readily lined with a sprayer.
Okay, excuse me, but there are no tick marks for field hockey. I asked to see them today, and the gentleman who was there pulled it up on his phone and showed me the field layouts. He said I was wrong in thinking that they were tick marks. These are the diagrams. The diagram is for men's and women's lacrosse, and that those fields have been done. They have been cut and those lines are in. It's for men's and women's high school soccer, and those lines have been cut and put in. I said, where are the tick marks? Could you at least show me?
Well,
There are no tick marks.
we can loop back. We can go back to the contractor's documents and verify if that was an oversight. Then thank you for bringing that forward, and we can correct that.
Well, he did show me. He said if there were tick marks, this is exactly where they would be, and there are not tick marks.
Yeah.
So, and again, they could have put in tick marks for lacrosse. Why didn't they put tick marks in for lacrosse or soccer and line it for field hockey? That's the sport that doesn't have a field right now in Groton. Lacrosse has a beautiful field. Soccer has a beautiful field. They have signs up. The only sport that doesn't is field hockey.
We understand your concerns and frustrations, and we'll loop back and see what we can do about perhaps putting some tick marks on. But as I said at the beginning, the Permanent School Building Committee is responsible for putting the field in, not for putting the marks in. And
no, I agree. And the superintendent didn't respond to my letter. And I was told that the decision for the lines came from the superintendent, who I also had a conversation with. And he said, your sport needs to be played on turf, because his granddaughter used to play for me. And he said, you can't play on the field you play on. We're going to get a turf field someday with the new middle school. So you can see how disappointing it is.
And again, just a little bit of the technical information. The field is the right length. The field
would be perfect for.
The field is striped. It's a little bit wider than what's.
Field?
Excuse me.
Are you talking about the multi-purpose field is the right length?
No, I'm talking about the turf field that we just put in. It's 100 yards long, right? The stripe section. The only thing that's different is your internal markings and the width marking.
Well, the soccer field lines are longer. A soccer field is longer than a field hockey field.
It's 100 yards long, the markings. That's on
okay,
the
let's not get.
And we won't get into details, but
no.
we'll certainly take a look at it from the construction.
Right, okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Do I have to unmute myself or?
No, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We got Christine Cabral wants to talk, I believe, here. I'll put her on.
Hi, this is Christine. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I just wanted to back up and support Coach K with her her challenge here of trying to get this fixed and have field hockey lines on that synthetic turf field. I am a taxpayer. I have 4 children in Groton Public Schools. 3 will be Fitch High School students, girls playing field hockey next fall. And, you know, just a couple things. I'm not going to rehash everything, but, you know, we are one of the largest schools in our conference, and 4 smaller schools all have shared and lined turf fields for 4 sports. It doesn't seem confusing for them to be able to do that. So I have some concerns about why that might be confusing for us And I'd like to kind of relook at that maybe. And as far as, you know, really we need to think about, by not having this field lined, it's really telling the girls of Groton public school system that we are not encouraging female youth sports, and that I'm really questioning who made this decision and why it was made. I mean, it's hard enough with field hockey. We don't have a feeder program in this town. So these girls all play for the first time at 9th grade. So to have 30 students, 30 females playing each year, the popularity is growing, obviously, and not have a regulation field to play on is a travesty in this town. You know, I mean, we've paid taxes here for years and years and years, and to have our tax money be decided that lacrosse and soccer is more important than a sport that clearly girls at the high school level, and then this could be an intramural middle school program. You're cutting that off as not even being an option and saying lacrosse
let me interrupt you. We're not cutting anything off, okay? Again, we're the permanent school building committee.
Understood.
We had nothing to do with determining what the lines were. We will look into having the lines added or what we can do to stop the frustration. But venting your frustrations on us is really not all that helpful.
Understood, and I apologize if it sounds that way. It's really, we're very passionate about this sport, and we always feel like we're overlooked. And so I'm sorry that you're the ones receiving this right now. I definitely will communicate it to the school board as well. Is that where you really feel the decision was made on where the lines were chosen to be? Who chose which sports got lines?
That it wasn't us, so I can.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I'm sorry, but there's 30 plus families in Groton that are taxpayers that were part of this, you know, and we're all impacted.
Oh no, we understand. Believe me, we understand the frustration, and if there's anything that we can do, we'll look into it and circle back to you.
Okay. Well, thank you for your support. You know, you guys are doing a great job, and you know, I apologize that you're on the other receiving end of this, but it's
we appreciate hearing input. It's just you know,
we
we've
were
got
under
the
the
input.
impression that it was going to be one thing and it was another, you know.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We have anybody else?
There's Scott Westervelt. He's got himself muted, I believe, if he'd like to talk.
Can you guys hear me?
We
Yes,
can.
ma'am.
Good evening. How is everyone?
Good, thank you.
I just wanted to also show my support for Coach K and also the rest of the team because my daughter.
I can't understand a word he's saying. Can anyone else?
No, he's faint.
I sometimes speak a little too fast, so I apologize. So I wanted to express my support for the field hockey team as well as Coach K and Coach K, and also the comments about the multiple colors of lines and everything. I've had both my boys play lacrosse and they played soccer as well. I've seen the fields over at NFA and I've seen the fields at Stonington where they played, and I'm not sure that the color argument is as big a deal as it was brought up to be. However, I appreciate that you're going to go back and talk to the contractor or review the contractor's documents to make sure that basically Groton is getting what we paid for.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your support. Your
Very
help.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate them. I have
two more
okay.
requests. Jane Servidio, if I pronounced it right, or Servidio. I'll put her on, or whomever, if she wants to go ahead.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
yes,
we
we can.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
I am also chiming in as a field hockey parent, obviously Groton Town taxpayer as well. I'm not going to go through what everybody else said. I can just say I fully support what's been discussed so far in terms of both Coach K, Diane and Ed, and Christine Cabral's comments, and just want to say thank you for building the field in the first place. The girls for field hockey, what a developing team this is, and for girls to come out in 9th grade and start a brand new sport, and then to have to play on the field that they've been playing on. And you see the eye rolls of the other girls that come sometimes and they see, oh, we're playing in dirt from a baseball field. So when the girls found out about the possibility of having this turf field as an option for them, it was as if they were winning the lottery. And it really made them feel validated as female athletes of Fitch High School and of Groton, that they were at the same level of respect as all the other sports. And to have what's happening right now is just really feeling like a slap in the face to the girls. I'm looking at my daughter, she's down, she's grumpy, and it's because I think they were all thinking they were gonna have an amazing field, and now we're thinking we're not. So thank you very much for your efforts with building the field. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure that you'll be hearing me at the Board of Ed.
Very good.
And we have one more.
Thank you for your support.
Yep, thank you. One more, Michael Ellis. He's,
You got me?
yes, we do.
Now, my name's Mike Ellis. I'm the head football coach at Fitch High School, and my daughter is a senior field hockey player there. And I guess what I want to ask, not your decision about the lines that go on the field, but what is the process that occurs now in order to talk about getting those lines? Do you guys communicate with the Board of Education? Is it the parents that communicate with the Board of Education? What is the next move?
Well, if I can answer that, I would say that it's the parents that communicate with the Board of Education. The field, as I said earlier on, was designed as a middle school field. I now hear that there's field hockey interest in the middle school, but the decisions on what sports were in there were in the original plans, which were approved by the Board of Education. So I would think that you need to reach out to them unless Sam has something different. I would also caution folks, if they're talking to people, don't talk to the contractors that are out on the site. And you shouldn't necessarily be on the site unless somebody allows you to be there, because it's not safe. So please either contact myself, or I would think Bob LaFrance would respond to you if you need to have questions about what was designed or you want to look at something on the site. And I too, as kind of the builder of this thing, appreciate all your comments.
Thank you.
And we'll circle back to all of you and let you know what we've found.
Bob, we also have something in the text block from a Danielle Watson echoing the similar concerns. Her daughter's a field hockey player as well, so we'll put that in the minutes
chat
as well.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, if I could echo Rick's comments, this site is still under the control of and responsibility of the construction manager, and no one from the public should be on site unless escorted. We have some very stringent safety requirements that we place on the construction team, and they are liable for anything that happens. So please do not just help yourself to the site, even though it is exciting to see the project move along. We need to arrange official visits with somebody escorting you and make sure that everybody is kept safe in the process. So please, for those who have spoken tonight and any that they'll be speaking to that might also have similar interests, please avoid self-guided tours of the construction site.
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I did respond to Mrs. Kolnaski's request or her email after I had spoken to Dr. Grenier, and it was agreed that I would respond to her email with our recollections of what transpired earlier. In the meantime, I will be speaking with Dr. Grenier again tomorrow, and there are board members that are aware of the situation, and I'm sure that it's going to be on the, I know it's on the agenda for our next facilities meeting, and I'm sure it'll be on the next board meeting too. So at least we'll make sure that it is.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Rick,
Yes.
I mean, can we reach out to the installer and or find out, you know, what's all involved in getting the lines?
We, at this
Not,
point,
not getting the lines, but, you know, I don't remember what she was referring to as points or, you know.
At this point, I would not recommend cutting in anything additional. We could certainly talk to them. I mean, it can be laid out for on a paint situation, which operates temporarily.
Right.
But yes, we can talk. We'll talk and see and make sure that what was put in was what was supposed to be put in.
Rick,
Right.
So we'll reach out to them for that.
Rick, may I?
Sure.
I go back into January when the presentation was made, and a lot of questions that were going on back and forth. And what Sam responded to the Kanowskis and before about the tick lining, somewhere along the line, I do remember that it was talked about the lines and adding ticking, but not to add too many because it would mess up the field. So Sam's comment is what was spoken to back in January.
Mm-hmm.
When we moved forward into February, when we had the cost change and the motion on that, we didn't even talk about the lines back then because we figured we'd put solid lines in and we could put ticking in if we needed it. But that's been the end of the conversation on the lines that I know of since all the way going back to January.
Right.
So I'm just going on the recall of the meetings we had in January and February and Sam's comments. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just clarify then what would be the next steps? Because the conversation has gone in different directions. So what would be the next steps for this group of people?
So as I said, we can check and see that whatever the contract was for the field was done exactly as was contracted. If the lines for field hockey weren't part of that, then we can talk with the Board of Ed about what they think as far as priorities go. Do they want them sewn and glued in, or do they want to do something on a spray by game basis kind of thing? So in either case, we'll circle back to each of these individuals with what our findings are and how we're going to move forward on that.
Meanwhile, if I may, Bob, since we have the contractor on site, I'll ask that Tammy get in touch with the construction manager and request a proposal for the tick marks, so that we can at least express that it's a possibility before they disappear.
That's what I was alluding to a little bit ago. Just
right, and that's
if we can get a proposal, nothing's in concrete that we're going to do it, but if we have a proposal, then at least people know that we've done what we can on our end, and
And in fact, they may be done because they were putting down the infill yesterday, and I think they may be off-site. But we'll certainly follow up on it from the construction side.
and I agree. I mean, people shouldn't be going out there and talking to the contractors. Sometimes the contractors don't have all the information, whoever they're talking to. You know what I mean? That's not fair to anybody.
Hey, Bob, I'd like to say something to close this out. But this is Mike Doyle. I am disappointed that there was no transparency in the field lining efforts. The bid plans talked about lining for soccer and tick marks for field hockey and lacrosse and football. And so those are the bid plans that went out. There were no other discussions or votes. There was a vote on sodding the softball field and the multi-purpose field, and then there was a vote in January or February approving the turf field because we had the money. And my daughter played for Diane as a club team member in the first year of the field hockey existence 12 years ago, and the second year they went to the States. I'm just curious on how much. It was a decision on money. I understand the line thing, but there are multiple fields. Mike Ellis knows probably how many, and I think there's lots of fields have 4 different kinds of lines on them. How much money was saved by not adding the field hockey lines? Was it a conscious decision? So these are all questions for the Board of Ed and Dr. Grenier, for the audience, the meeting that are attending this, so they can start this conversation. Diane just texted me that Liz Porter said there's nothing they can do right now. So I know, and I think when you line the fields with the water-based markings, they last for weeks, but it is a cost to the maintenance, and it's a annual thing, so that the fields, as the backup thing to close this all out, the lines can be put on for practice whenever field hockey's in existence and practicing, or if they're doing a tournament in the summer, or they're doing a middle school intramurals off in the spring or something, or summer. These water-based lines can be added, and I think they last, I'm sure they last longer than the painted lines, white paint on grass.
Right.
So that's an out for it, but there is questions for the Board of Ed and Dr. Grenier, how much money was saved by not putting the lines in, and then what's the maintenance cost of, Sam's people or the high school maintenance guys lining the fields, every 3 weeks or something as needed. And the bid plans did have tick marks for those events. So we should definitely check on what the contractors gave us compared to what was on the drawings. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Okay. Do we have any more discussion on this?
Well,
No,
we
I
have,
think
some, we have some more hands raised, but do we want to move on then?
Well,
or do we want to?
What do we have?
We have.
I just as soon deal with this now.
We have the Kolnoskis, got a hand raised, Christine, Cabral again, and James.
Okay, anybody that has already spoken understands that we're going to do what we can to see about what happened with the lines and what we can do with them. If you have other things that you want to talk about, that's different, but I think we've pretty much got the idea here as far as the lines on the field. In fact, it's up to the Board of Ed to determine what sports are being played on what fields. So I don't know, how they're going to make that decision or when, but if we can get lines for field hockey on that, we'll if they think that's a good thing to do, we'll go ahead and do it, I suspect. So if anybody has something else that they'd like to talk about rather than lines on fields, you're welcome to speak.
All the hands are down right now. So.
Thanks, everybody. I will make sure that we circle back to you as soon as we have any words from the Board of Ed, the contractors, and any of the other people that are suitably involved in this. I hope that's satisfactory to everybody.
Yeah, I'd like to see if we could get a proposal that way there. If the Board of Ed does want to do something, or whether or not we can inform them of what, that we looked into a price and this is what it would be. And if they choose to move forward, then they choose to move forward.
If we're going to do that, I would request that maybe we get the price for actually doing the lines as well as the tick marks, so that Ed would know exactly what we're talking about. But
okay,
that seems a reasonable place to start.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now then, do we still have people that want to speak?
I have no hands raised at this point. And in fact, they're signing off. So a couple have signed off. So
thank you, everybody.
Okay,
I'm sure that
if I may, Bob, I'm speaking on behalf of Tammy with connection issues. She's verified that, as Mike said, the documents do require the tick marks for field hockey. So that was an oversight by the contractor. So we will at least get the tick marks as part of the original price.
All right.
So the discussion moving forward would be, what if we turn those tick marks into lines?
Right.
Well, and the tick marks are along the side. Like you said, the field length is not the issue. It's the width, if you look at it, and the location of other internal
Okay,
marks.
well,
we'll talk about it later on and get
but
at
a minimum, we were owed tick marks. If they're not there, then that's a punch list item.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you for getting us that, Jack.
Thank you, Tammy.
I don't
All right.
have Tammy anyplace. How come she's
No,
not?
she's having issues.
Okay.
Kick it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
There she is.
Here I am. Yeah, so I just wanted to let everyone know, I just verified the construction documents to let the community, the town, know that as part of the construction documents, we were owed the tick marks. So being the person that's on site every day, I will follow up with the contractor and see what happened with those particular marks. And as everyone said, we can always, you know, ask for a proposal to continue to make those actual lines.
Great. Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Almost instant answers. I like it.
You're welcome.
Tammy,
Yes.
even if they can make them permanent lines, get an answer of how much it's going to screw up the field or not screw up the field.
Well, that'll be
In the
part.
sense
That'll
of
be
con-
that'll
in
be
the
part
sense
of it.
Confusion with the lines and things like that, because that was one of the conversations they brought up when we were talking about it.
Right.
Overdoing lines.
The
Well,
contractors are not going to know what the overdoing lines is. Talk to the ADs. The Board of Ed needs to talk to the ADs around
Yeah,
town.
this is
We don't
a
talk
Board
to
of Ed issue now.
Okay.
Well, and it's a technical issue. If we cut the fields and put lines in, then we have to look at what it, and to Kevin's point, what it does to the field. But let's, you know, we'll all do our research and come back to you.
Yep.
Right.
Very good. All right. Just as a reminder, we don't have minutes to go through this time, so we can bypass that and move directly to communications. Does anybody have any communications for us?
No, I have nothing.
Yes.
I don't know if it's communications at this time, but there was an email that came through. I had sent it to Bob, and I know, Rick, you had gotten it as well from Mr. Bass, so I don't know if this is the time to talk about that, but.
Sure, go ahead.
I'd have to read it because it was from an email from him, but it's talking about some safety things. I don't know if, Sam, you also received it. I think you did, but it was, I think, adding in possible stop signs. So I'd have to look back. He
had two issues, as I recall. One was stop signs at the parking area.
Mm-hmm.
The other was the creation of a special ed drop-off point at the back of the door. And so I think Rick could probably tell us where he is on that at the moment.
Yeah,
Okay,
stop signs is not necessarily an issue. Right now, we need to finish what we need to finish to get the building done. So we can take a look at that, certainly. As you well know, and the committee, that I've received nothing from the superintendent asking that something in addition be done. So until the superintendent buys into something, we're going to continue with what we have. It's going to require rework in any event if we do move forward with this. So right now the plan is to finish what we have. If we need to put this driveway in and people agree to that, we have time before school starts. So, okay, it's not a flat area. There is grades involved, so it's not a simple matter because it's not just a driveway. It's a driveway or a road and a sidewalk and
ADA accessibility.
And it has to be ADA compliant, which may be difficult in the location it is. So we'll look into it. I did want to call into Dr. Grenier. Hadn't heard back from him today, so
okay,
to discuss it with him. So
all right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep, we did have that one. Great, thank you for sharing it, Jamie.
I have one question, one from the board, actually from a Board of Ed member. On the elementary sites where the middle school were fields, the base path, are they 45, 60, or 90 feet bases?
They're what they were before. The middle school at Cutler was a 90-foot base path for baseball. The one at West Side was 45 for softball, and that's what's going to be put back into those two locations.
Okay. No,
Yeah, so what was originally there will go back.
That's correct.
Okay. And the reasoning will be the same for the past. Okay.
Yep. I mean, the fields may be configured a little different. Maybe the fence is a little shorter on the baseball side, but we're going to put back in the fields that pre-existed.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to say, and you already know this, but Diane Kolnaski emailed me about this field turf lines issue. That's all.
Thank you, Mike. I do hope you're not driving. Okay, I have one quick one in that I went and viewed the school and the fields and whatnot last Friday, and I took a former member of the Board of Ed and a current member of the RTM, Bev Washington, came with me because she was very interested in seeing the whole place. It's amazing what's gotten done since the last time that we were there. And the fun part about it was Peter was coming in as we were leaving, and Peter hadn't seen it since November. So he was totally blown away. The place is looking really, really phenomenal. They're starting to complete, put in the ceiling tiles on the 4th floor, and they're working from the 4th floor down, sort of, you know, leaving as they go. So things are looking really, really pretty spectacular. I was very psyched about the way everything was being done. I talked with Rick about it. He had mentioned that they'd had a couple of issues with not being as clean and tidy as he might have liked them to be, but they seem to have straightened a lot of that up. The place just looked great.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my comment on it.
So I guess, is that the lead in for Tammy to give her a report then?
That's the lead in for Tammy.
Okay, there you go, Tam.
All right, great, excellent. Good evening, everybody. I will just start out with letting everyone know that we are still on schedule for June 30th for starting to get everything into the building. We do have a little bit of exceptions for the some items that we're still waiting for, like for instance, the science casework. So we're looking to start receiving that on site on June 30th. That's not a major item that is holding up the rest of the project. And then the other item is the lighting for the media center. And that should be arriving very shortly. We don't have an exact date, but we're hoping to get that in by the end of June as well. So those are just a few items that I just wanted to point out that we'll still be waiting for. And also the gym flooring. So the gym flooring is still scheduled to be completed around the end of July, early August. Okay.
Also, Tammy, we have skyfold doors, which I have let Bob know. Those some places actually closed down, didn't do the manufacturing, couldn't ship material, so the skyfold doors may be here in August, may not. If they're not, it's a simple, I say simple installation, a couple days per per door. They're also, obviously the field work is going to be continuing on the other fields, so that trailers will start being moved out. In fact, I think Tammy said she's moving out on the 30th into the building.
Yes.
That will be going on. And FF&E, I don't know if you want to give them an update on the FF&E and the move stuff, Tammy?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do as well. I just wanted to let everyone know that all the FF&E has been procured and ordered and also scheduled. The deliveries will start coming right after 4th of July, July 6th. So we'll start to be receiving the FF&E. The move management, we are looking to be completed by June 12th with all the teachers packed and ready to go. And then we're going to start moving just their stuff into the building while we're getting ready for the FF&E. The other portion is the technology. So the technology is almost fully procured. We have the some items going out for bid this week, and we're looking to have the bids in by June 22nd. That is for the Promethean boards for the classrooms. And the actual technology to start installing, we're looking for July 17th to start all the networking for the building. The other thing that I wanted to point out, we already talked about the synthetic turf field. So the guys are pretty much almost done. They should be done by the end of this week. And they are continuing working on the soils, screening the topsoil and placing and grading out all the islands and embankments on the site for site work. The other sidewalks are ongoing. We're going to start to see, as you arrive on site, the plantings are starting. So we're starting to get trees on site. Colored sidewalks are being installed. For the building, building A, like I said, that should be completed by June 30th. So we just have a few more items to complete in that area. As Bob said, we're starting to drop some ceiling tiles in building A, which is the classroom wing, for those of you who are still on the phone. So that is continuing on in building A. The other thing, we have the grand staircase being installed. The elevator is installed and completed and ready for permanent power and testing. We do have permanent, speaking of permanent power, we do have it on the 4th through the 1st floor, and the other half of the 1st floor, we still need to connect power. So we're about 50% done on the 1st floor for power. The rest of the floors are 100%. In building B, which is where it's the other end of the classroom wing, we're still working on the exterior finishes. As you drive by the building, you can see the new exterior finishes going on with the panels and the brick veneer and the stone. Continuing. For building C, we're starting to get ready for the theatrical lighting in the small performance and the black box theater area. Everything else is ongoing with the kitchen. So we're working on finishing up the freezer cooler, and we're going to start to install the flooring next week in the kitchen area. The other area is building D, which is going to be the last portion as the contractors move out of the building. So as Bob said, we're working our way out of the building. So 4th floor down to the 1st and out through building D, which is where the gymnasium is located. So we're still continuing with finalizing all the MEP rough-ins, the taping. They're also starting to do the final paint in the gymnasium. We've got some electrical finishes going on, and also we're finishing up the gym storage area for the exterior walls.
Tammy, do we have any of the contractors there that are like 100% done?
No, we do not.
Okay.
So those are the highlights that we have going on for the middle school project.
One
Excellent.
question, Tammy.
Yes.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome.
So
As I asked-
budgetarily, we're
what's the
still
state-
in excellent
Okay,
shape.
everybody, one at a time here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Budgetarily, we're still in good shape as far as the budget goes. We haven't dipped into the owner's contingency much, I should say. We still have, we may be at 2% change orders. Half of those change orders are owner requested stuff. So about half of the change order amount is things like the turf field and some those other things, skyfold door, and LVT, and those kind of things. So really the Arcadis and O&G have done a good job keeping those costs down. And I know Tammy's worked very hard on those change orders and the review of those change orders. So we're moving along pretty well in that direction. Also, there's some other pockets of money that we may be getting back. We had like 350 was set aside for utility work. We may get 100 or so K of that back. We've got the contingency from the CM that we'll probably get some bucks back from that. I don't know what the exact amount is at this point. But also, as far as the town's concerned, the state's been holding 11% contingency. So we won't get that money back as a town until
After the audit.
everything's closed out and the audit's done. So folks are working hard to make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. So when audit time comes, we can get through that with a minimal amount of pain. So financially, we appear to still be in really good shape on that building.
Very good. So any questions?
Yeah, I just had one, and my usual monthly safety report. Any injuries or anything?
No injuries, knock on wood.
So we're 0 for the whole project?
Yes, we are.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yep. The COVID stuff is still going on.
Yep.
The masks for the workers, the social distancing, that sort of thing. I mean, and also, I don't know if folks are aware, the town's going to open our buildings with a similar situation starting next Monday, but things have been going well, and we don't want to foul up the safety record, but it has been really good.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that the next time we meet, we'll be back up at the annex because we can put distance between us and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would hope so. We could see what I can do to plan for that this time coming around. Okay, I guess Kelly.
So any further questions for Tammy?
I have one other question. I think it'd be good if we get a copy of the change order spreadsheet the Monday before the meeting, just so we can take a look at it. We can do this for the next 2 years for all the other school projects as well.
Okay. Yep.
Sure, I can certainly do that.
That would be great.
Yep.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Okay, great.
Okay, I think, oh, you done?
Jack, do you have anything that you wanted to pop in here?
Nothing additional, thank you.
Okay, great. Then I guess we can go to Kelly if she's still.
I'm here.
Very patiently hanging on.
I am here. I have not fallen asleep. It's been very exciting.
Next time we'll let you go first.
Trade on and off every time.
Exactly.
All right, so I'll start with Cutler. I'm going to separate the two now because we kind of have both jobs are kind of headed in different directions right now. So site work is continuing at Cutler. We are stripping topsoil and a pavement in the rear of the school. We kind of took over Phase B, got P&Z approval on our E&S measures back there. So they're kind of taking a big chunk of the project site a little earlier than expected, which is great. They have storm drain and piping install underway throughout the project footprint. Also in Phase A, we have foundation footings and walls underway being formed, rebar being installed, and we have pours. We are about 70% done in Area A and about 30% done in Area C, which is our 3-story area. And we are beginning excavations in Area B to start our footings as well. And besides that, we have the graduation parade on June 11th, and we have made sure that all contractors are aware of that. So that parking lot will be open as it is every day, and the area will be clean. So there'll be no issues with that. And then for West Side, again, site work is continuing throughout. We're continuing to strip and screen topsoil and also continuing with rock crushing. And when I say we are stripping topsoil, I mean we are excavating that site. It's completely different than what it was in the beginning. Excavations are beginning for footings. We have not poured any concrete yet, and we have not installed any rebar yet, but the footing excavations continuing, and you'll see forms for Area C in the ground and ready to go as soon as we get our rebar in, which should be in the next week or two. Our trees have been removed in the front of the school. We have a couple more trees left, I think, in the courtyard area, but that should wrap it up for trees. And then next week we have students and teachers coming in to remove their belongings. So again, we're going to make sure that that front area is nice and clean and welcoming for those people to get in there and get all their stuff, with the graduation parade following on the 12th, Friday, June 12th. And there was one, go ahead, Rick.
No, that's okay. Go ahead, Kelly.
There was just one question that we had, I think, a couple weeks ago for the mirror in the building, and I brought the our abatement contractor in, and our oh my God, what's his name? Eagle Environmental in to look at it, and he said the mirror could be removed. So I'll get with Sam on that. And besides that, that should be it. That's all I have for an update.
One thing we have been talking about is moving the portables for Sam over to the admin building. We do have a little bit of an upcharge because there weren't any hitches, weren't any axles, wheels for those things. It'll be about $15,000 for the two at Cutler and about $7,200 for West Side. After that, the hitches and the wheels are ours, so we'll turn them over to the Board of Ed, and if Sam wants to move those again, he'll be able to do that. We are also working with the demo and abatement contractors, trying to get those contracts finished up so we can move forward. Looks like there's going to be a slight upcharge at West Side. We're not sure exactly what that amount is. We're still, as I reported last time, we're still under our budget by several $100,000 at each school. So once we know what that number is and we move forward with the contract, I'll let you folks know what that difference is. Cutler, there has been a request by one of the citizens to have, to be able to connect to the water line. I had Kelly do some work, and they got a proposal or an estimate from the contractor, and to put it in the road would be about $100,000, which is preferable. So I talked to my boss, Greg Hanover, today, and we're going to let the town manager talk to the water company, saying, hey, the water line, if we put it in the road, which is probably better for the tree, if you will, that we're trying to save, and I do have a sort of a draft drawing of that. I think it would be better project-wise to go ahead and do that, but I'll certainly let you know as that process moves forward and what the town manager is willing to do and that sort of thing. The only other option, if they would connect to the water line, would be an easement over the school property, which would probably be 75 to 100 feet. And it would only be for one property. The other ones would interfere with something, and we certainly don't want them going on the school property. So the best option appears to put that pipe in the road, and I'll keep you guys informed about that.
Thanks, Rick.
And the nice thing about that is you can probably talk to them and say, hey, look, you know, we're getting you customers. You pay for it.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, so we'll let the town manager make the first foray with that and go from there.
And there are no injuries on site, on either site.
Yeah, you got to watch it for the sunburn out there, though. It's getting pretty warm.
I drive by West Side every day, and it's just amazing to watch the big piles of dirt change. They just walk all over the place. It's funny.
Yeah. I was just wondering with the West Side side also, we have two trailers that are put in. Are we going to leave it at 2, or are there going to be more going to the staging area? You have the muster area, the present muster area. Are we just going to leave it as that double wide in the other trailer as the work for the contractor and yourself, Kelly?
Yep, so those 2 trailers are going to stay, the double wide for ONG and the single wide for Arcadis. There will be no additional trailers in that area. We have a laydown area in the project site out in the middle. And it shows, I think, on the plans, a couple contractor field offices, but they are no more than Connex boxes. So the contractors are actually, their field offices are just Connex boxes with no electrical, no plumbing, no hookups.
Okay, thank you.
And those sites too, and we have put in our GMPs a few dollars for this COVID thing to make sure we have sufficient hand wash stations and hand sanitizers and those things to make sure we're meeting all the requirements. And O&G has done well in that regard, and Arcadis is following up on that to make sure those things are being used. So at those sites, as well as the middle school, we're continuing with those protocols to make sure those are all in place.
I have one question, Kelly. I'm working shift work, so I have mornings free. I'd like to take a tour of both sites, maybe one week, one another week at some point, just to see what the empty sites look like. So I don't know whatever is a good day for you, or we can figure that out on email. With
Okay, any day but Wednesdays that we have our both project meetings on Wednesdays. So any day you want, let me know. Shoot me an email if you want. I can shoot you an email if you don't have my contact information.
We'll figure that out. Thanks.
Okay.
Mike, do me a favor, and once you've got that nailed down, let me know. I may come with you.
Sure, we'll do. I also wanted to talk to Christy and Jamie. If you guys ever wanted to come, I could come with you. You know, when you're free from school, whatever that means this year.
Do you mean the elementary sites, Mike? I lost track a little bit because the middle school site, I was hoping to connect with Tammy. I wasn't sure, Tammy, if it was tomorrow or next Friday and Wednesday. So I was trying to figure that out.
I'm talking about elementary schools.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jamie, I was going to reply to your email. It's next Friday and Wednesday.
Okay, great. So we'll go with the Wednesday, I'm pretty sure, but.
Okay, yep, that's what you said. Go with Wednesday.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, I'll send you an invite.
Great.
Yeah, if anybody's going to go, I'd be interested in going. I'm available to go. So Wednesday would be good.
No, Wednesday's not good.
Oh, Wednesday's not good.
No.
Not for the elementary school.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, actually, I could go in the afternoon, but have to be like,
No, 11, that's fine. 11. If you've got contractor, if that's a full schedule for you, that's fine. I'm available any day. I'm on vacation for 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Right. and just a word on the visitation, we kind of like to keep it down because of the COVID issue to 2 or 3 folks at a time or what have you. So you guys can work out whoever goes when, which is fine.
Right.
And
so that's what I'm
more
looking to.
questions for the.
If there's an interest in people going, let me know. And if I'm available. And if there's too many people, I can schedule another time.
Yeah. Okay.
I think COVID notwithstanding, we always have the concern about if there are 4 or more, then it's considered a quorum of the building committee and needs to be posted as a formal meeting.
Right.
Okay.
So any 3 of you at a time is perfect.
All right.
So if you have any more questions for me, that is the construction team, feel free. We'll try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer, we'll find it.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions for Kelly?
No.
No. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Now then, new business?
Nothing from my side tonight.
One thing I can mention is we've been, just for your information, this is not anything for action for you folks other than informational, that we're continuing to work with the Green Bank. We're going to have a presentation with the Board of Ed and the Town Council next Monday at their committee of the whole meeting. So people, if they want to tune in, they're certainly welcome to do that. It's going to be a brief presentation by them to get the council up to speed, to get the Board of Ed to understand what's going on, because they're going to be the ones to sign the power purchase agreement for that. We had talked also about the high school, which would probably be put off for a year so we can get these first 2 up and operating. So in case anybody's interested or has any questions, please feel free to call me or just listen in on Monday night, the 15th. It'll be.
So it's presentation to the council and the Board of Ed, or just the council?
Yes, the board. It's to the Board of Ed, and they're inviting the council. And right now it's scheduled to be still electronic, so we'll see whether it goes otherwise, you know.
That would be exciting. I'd love to see that come through. Anything else, Rick?
I have nothing else. You know, we are, other than financially, we are still in good shape on the elementary schools. There's been a couple of small change orders. Phase 1 stuff was rolled into the GMP for phase 2, so we know where we are financially and budgetarily. So those things are moving along. But other than that, nothing new from this end.
Kelly, would it be possible in the future for us to see the change order list before we meet?
Absolutely.
That would be great. Same as what we do, or what Mike has requested for the middle school as well. So I think that would be a good idea if we could ask that.
Okay.
Okay.
Given the fact that, given the fact that today's only the 4th, we'll be presenting the monthly reports for the month of May at the next meeting, and we can have all those documents available at that time.
That'd be great. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, the only thing I would ask is if we could make sure it's on the agenda in 2 weeks, that we get an update on the field, on the turf field, as far as lines go.
We can do that.
Yes, most certainly.
Very good. All right. Rick, we have a meeting in 2 weeks.
Yes.
We will probably be electronic at this point. 50-50, right?
Yeah, 50-50 chance. I mean, we have a big space here that we could spread out, I think, so I could check into that certainly for you.
It depends on when they change the numbers.
Well, they're saying 10, so if we have 10 members and staff, it's not an issue. I think what do we have, 11 or something right now.
I think the question becomes what access is there for the public, and do we have to broadcast somehow?
Right.
And if it's in room number 1, maybe the town can do its usual thing that they do for other town meetings.
Well, either that or we could do an electronic version for the public and have a computer lit off. And,
yeah, we can.
So they can listen in and be able to.
We could stream it.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have anything else? No. Well, let's plan to meet again in 2 weeks. We'll let you know whether it's going to be face-to-face or electronic, virtual.
Okay.
And everybody stay safe until then.
Yes.
All righty.
Because we want to see you all back here.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Ciao.
Okay.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What happened to David and Chet?
Good night, David. Good night, Chet. Yeah, that's right. And meeting for all. Yep.